The Lifesteal SMP.
Lifesteal SMP.
Lifesteal SMP.
Lifesteal SMP is
Lifesteal SMP.
If you've watched Minecraft videos in the past few years, there's a high chance you have seen the Lifesteal SMP. A server where when you die, you lose a heart, and when you kill someone, you gain a heart. You probably know it at this point. The members' videos on the server have gained millions of views. They officially opened a public server where you can play on. The server averages around 500 players and hit its peak in December with over 1,000 players. I got on a call with Reddoons, one of the owners, to talk about the history and the future of the server.
Hi.
Hello.
Alright, so how did the server come to be?
So this we'd have to go back to it was January 2022 if I'm correct. We were in season 3 of Lifesteal. We were all doing great. YouTube was popping off. All the Lifesteal guys were uploading. Everything was going great. I think me and Parrot noticed that there was a public plugin for Lifesteal, the concept, on Spigot. That at the time had maybe like 600,000 downloads, or like it had a decent amount, and we were like, wow, that is insane. The more we looked into it, we found out that there's like a bunch of servers out there that are, based on Lifesteal, like, public Lifesteal servers. Like, it's become its own genre now, with this concept. And we noticed like it averaged like maybe like 17,000 players like across the board with all of them combined, and we were blown away. So I asked like Parrot, like, why don't we have a server? And at the time, they had been considering it, but, it was never a focus, so it never happened. So then after that, me and Parrot began concepting what we wanted to be a public Lifesteal server. And then eventually other Lifesteal members came on board, like Vortex, Leowook, RecRap, and then Spoke. And we were all kind of working together to design this concept for this Lifesteal server that we all wanted to, come to fruition.
What are some memorable moments you have had in the server's history?
I think like 2 big monumental moments for me were like the day when we kind of finished the concept, kind of knowing what we wanted. That was like very cool for me. And then also like when we finally began getting like things that we've concepted a long time ago finally developed, because like we worked with 2 different developers before we worked with the ones we do now, and those developer groups didn't really see eye to eye with our vision, and they didn't really know how to develop what we wanted. So we were like kind of like left disappointed. So finally being able to see that like the 3rd time around was like, oh my god, this is actually possible, holy frick. And we all got very excited. But in terms of like the actual server, I'm actually making videos on these 2 events, but like one was how me and my friend Willer had searched literally like the entire server without the use of the bounty radar, the item that you can like get people's cords. To find Spoke space, because Spoke had raided me at the end of day 1, and I went on like a revenge arc, and we literally searched the entire world, which is a 30k by 30k area, or 900 million block surface. Yeah, to find Spoke's base without bounty radar. So that was, once we actually found his base, like we did have the help of like players, but our process of finding it to me was very cool.
In your opinion, what do you think makes the server stand out from other survival Lifesteal servers?
So I think it comes down to a few things. Like when you look at like the majority of the Lifesteal servers that are not ours, they typically are public SMP with just a heart, like the Lifesteal gimmick. Maybe they have like King of the Hill and some small stuff, but all the ones I've seen, all they do is they have the very basic Lifesteal plugin where, you kill someone, you get a heart, and when you die, you lose one. If you lose all of them, you get death banned, and yada yada. And to me, the basic Lifesteal plugin is not that like good or optimized for like grand scale. It was meant for like a content server, so like it always caused like a heart inflation. I don't think our method is perfect, but we have worked on this like alternative system where the whole decaying heart fragment, the heart shop stuff, to like kind of take the heart system and make it a little bit more complex, rather than just killing people until you're max heart count and bam,
then
that's
it's
all.
Also more balanced.
Yeah, well, at least to some extent. We still see people all the time with like 20 hearts, but we're trying to add more progression to it, making it like a bit more interesting beyond just like simple hearts. That is what I think allows the server to kind of stand out a little bit more, is that like we got the POIs, we have the claim system, we have rating. It's not as extensive as I want it yet. Like we want to do a lot more with it, like you have no idea. But as like a good foundation, I think it kind of sets precedence for what we want to do. And I think that's something that not a lot of these other public lifestyle servers do. They kind of just leave it at the lifestyle plugin and then some other stuff, and that's it.
I have heard from players like in the Discord server that the server starts getting a bit repetitive. Do you see it that way, and is there any plans on improving that?
So funny enough, Leo and I spent 6 hours in a call last night actually talking about this. The same people that make that comment also talk a lot about how they think the beta was a lot better. And the reason why is that they felt like a lot of, certain items or features were kind of like not disabled, just didn't exist yet. For instance, netherite.
Yeah.
Netherite was like not really much of an existent thing in, beta. So people really like had to work a lot harder to get there, right? If you saw someone in netherite armor during the beta, you would freak out because it was that rare. Same thing with potions, same thing with obsidian, same thing with everything, to be honest. But like going back to your question of like the sense of redundancy, that it gets boring, stale after a while. I do agree. Like I don't think it's that the game mode is broken. I don't think it's that the game mode is boring. I think it's more that because we've been so fixated on setting a foundation, we've kind of like we haven't lost hindsight, but we've kind of lost that idea that faction servers, what they do is they reset after like 3 months, right? Back in the day. We don't want to do that as often. Like we want to try to make it a persistent game mode that lasts like, 4, 5, 6, 7 months before a new season comes out. So like with our concept of that, what's ended up happening is that because we haven't added these new features that we want yet, people have kind of gone in that loop of like that end game of like a factions gameplay and then be like, now what? Because right now, like, what do you define as like end game? It's like having netherite armor. It's having a good base that's being able to be defended and having 20 hearts. People are not really thinking about like say like economy stuff. People are not necessarily talking about like certain experiences they want to have like beyond just the 20 hearts. It seems like with like Lifesteal being the name, right? People are very fixated on like that heart count as like a standard of like, okay, I'm now done with the game. And that's something that like, we're thinking about now is that like, okay, perhaps, we should add stuff that's like beyond just vanilla definition of, end game. So we were, this is completely hypothetical for the time being, but like custom items, for instance, like adding custom items, not stuff like, like a sharp 10 sword. I'm not talking that kind of stuff, but like maybe like each POI has a designated item that you could work towards. And then like, you can use those items to make an even cooler item at the end, once you've gotten them all.
Yeah.
Or maybe items that like help buff the spawners. Or potentially different armor that does different things. Maybe it's a hoe that you can get from like, spending a lot of farm materials on it that will like give you a better fortune chance for farm, like better like drops for farming.
Yeah.
Basically stuff like I think like a very good example is hypixel skyblock. Obviously, we don't have the same scale as hypixel skyblock, but hypixel skyblock has a sense of, persistence where like even when you think you're done, there's more that can be done. And I think that's something we want to do. We want to make it that like it shouldn't be a feeling of you're completed. It should be a feeling that you're making progress. And I think like that's our goal. And that does seem like I'm avoiding the question. We are working on stuff to like get to that goal. It's just because we've been so focused this like last month, because the server's only like a month old from like when it launched. We've been so focused on like just making sure that the gameplay as it is strong, and then like fixing bugs. And I keep, like you pointed out with the suggestions in the Discord, people keep talking about how bugs aren't being fixed. And that's because, there's a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, the bug doc is really big.
You're a mod. You see the document, right? Yeah, there's a lot. And, there's also like, randomly people will maybe find a dupe. That's just how it happens. Like it happens to the best servers like Skyblock. So we actually, this is part of something we discussed. There's always going to be bugs, and only few people are going to notice those, right? Like out of 100 people, maybe only 10 people notice like a specific bug. And, they shrug it off and move on. It's not like it's going to ruin their gameplay, right? But yet for us, we were so focused on that which then like, you know, made us not think about like, oh shoot, maybe we should continue adding new features to the server to like add to the gameplay for the rest of people that don't really care about the bugs.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of like we're in this not crunch mode. We already know what we want to add. It's more that we gotta lay the groundworks even more to make the features we want to add even more in depth, so that they live up to the potential we want them to have when they become developed. So like, yeah, we're kind of this like shifting mode where we're realizing that like people are, you know, growing tired or feel done with the server in its current state. So we know that we gotta add a lot more. And like this isn't like, you know, we don't consider the server done. Like I feel like this is something like I don't know how much you've read my comments in the Discord, but I'm very much like I've stated that, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, nor is the server. This is this is like saying Minecraft 1.0, right? If you compare Minecraft 1.0 to today's version of Minecraft, it is night and day in terms of like how much has been added. Even though Minecraft is, you know, slowing down and adding features now, they were adding a lot before. And that's kind of like, you know, how I view the server. It's like we had that early foundation that we have set, and I think we have all the right, you know, ingredients. We just need to cook it all up and, you know, make a very cool dish and then expand on that.
Also, something that Pengy mentioned that he also said it also is very dependent on the player how they see the game. Like he brought up the example of like mid with her mega build.
Yes. Yeah. No. Shoot. That actually, you actually make a great point. It's something that I forgot to mention, which is what I was getting to with the whole heart. Like, if you see the end goal as just getting to 20 hearts and getting armor and that's it, that's just because that's what you're used to from servers, right?
Yeah.
You're used to this idea of like, you know, say, like it's something that like we were actually gonna call it Dr. Donut as well last night with Donut SMP. If you look at say his server, right? People don't see the end goal as getting, you know, a full netherite armor kit and then getting spawners and getting crystals, right? They say once you get there, then you could crystal PvP, and then on top of that, you can work up the economy. Like, I know that's something Donut really cares a lot about. It's like the economy of like making money on the server. And like, I think for us right now, first it's about, you know, enabling people to think that way with like adding more stuff, like say like the custom items. So it's not just netherite armor, but maybe it's like say something like blaze armor, very random concept, but maybe like the, you know, the blaze armor has like specific like enchants, like say like infinite fire res on it, and then like, you know, maybe if you hit someone fire res, or if the person with that armor like they catch on fire, like kind of like thorns. It's a very simple thing, but I think like stuff like that, because it's not game breaking. It's not like it changes vanilla PvP. It adds modifiers, but like if someone, you know, has fire res on them, that's similar to like Minecraft gameplay anyways. It's just, I don't know. I think stuff like custom items like that could be cool, or like giving levels to players. Just, we got to give people a reason to keep playing, but sometimes the player needs to understand like that, you know, just like Minecraft, it's a sandbox. It's up to them to determine what is to continue playing.
Very few people that think that the crates are pay to win. What's your like view on that?
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, because like in terms of like Minecraft's terminology of pay to win, you could say yeah, maybe a little, like not as much as other servers, but pay to win by definition is pay to win, right?
Yeah.
And the stuff you get in the crate, like you play on a server, what's the definition of like someone that's maxed out, would you say, like in terms of gear?
In terms of gear, just like full netherite.
Right.
Yeah.
If I recall, there's no armor piece in, you know, the crate that is netherite. Yeah. They're all diamond Pro 4 unbreaking. So like our philosophy with like when we were gonna do that is that we never wanted to be that like if you use the crates, you're immediately gonna be stacked and you're gonna be like the best, like, or be able to take on like someone that actually plays the server. We wanted to be like, if you are going to go down that path, because, I mean, there's countless servers out there that do the same thing, but just a lot more extreme. We want it to be that if you do want to take the approach that you're going to pay for stuff, that it gets you about 70 or 80% of the way, that the rest you would actually have to play the server like everybody else and work towards. So I think the best way to put it, as like some players have already phrased it themselves, is pay to progress a bit faster, like early on in the early game, to get to the end game faster. That's what it is. But at the same time, the crates, as you probably noticed, we've added more and more cosmetics to them,
Yeah.
and that's to phase it out. Like, I can't guarantee it, but like our hopes is actually that by like maybe season 2, 3, or 4, that the pay to win quote unquote items are completely phased out as only cosmetic. That's our goal.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it slowly, but at the end of the day, servers do need to make money, and crates are like the main way that most servers monetize. Unless you're like, huge server that has a very reliant player base,
Yeah.
which we're still, working towards getting. But yeah, I'd say like I think like I see where people come from, but at the same time, I feel like people, like a lot of our community, also understands that we have reduced the scale to it or the extent of it, and we're constantly phasing it out, which has kind of helped people understand like the approach, which is good.
I'm currently trying to hit 500 subscribers, so it would mean the world to me if you subscribed. Bye.